like to call to order the 24th meeting of the Mayor and City Council, meeting in regular session on Monday, January 28th, 2019. We will have members of Cub Scout Pack 1673 to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Guys, come on up front.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why don't you guys, Councilman Sindor's got a thing for you.
Of the mayor, Great Morning City Council, Laurel. Thank you guys for coming out, learning about local government. We're going to give you
Turn down, put their hands.
Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Mr. DeWalt,
here.
Mr. Sidnor,
Here.
Miss Nicholas,
Here.
Mr. Les,
Here.
President Smalls,
Here.
Mayor Mel.
Here. Agenda item 2 is approval of the minutes for the 23rd meeting of January 14th, 2019. Council, if there are no changes or modifications, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes of the last council meeting.
We have a motion by Councilman Les first. Councilman DeWalt, would you second?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Miss Nicholas,
Yes.
President Smalls.
I vote yes. Agenda item 3 is report of the Mayor and City Council. Tonight we'll start with Councilman DeWalt.
Good evening, everyone. On January 17th, I attended Firehouse Subs. It was a fundraiser for cats. If you're not aware of what the program is with cats, they go around and they get stray cats. They take them in, they get them neutered, spayed, or they get their shots. They do everything for them, and they do this out of fundraising events they have. And each month they have a fundraising events. So a shout out to them. Their next one is going to be at Oliver's Saloon. I believe it's on February 20th, but don't rely on that. I'm not too sure about that. But if you look up Laurel Cats, you'll see that in the on the internet. On Friday the 18th, we had a wreath laying ceremony for Dr. Martin Luther King. On Saturday the 19th, we had the Appreciation Day at the Tasty Diner. from 9 a.m. to noon, and the place was packed and the parking lot was full. On the 21st was a holiday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. It was a absolute great ceremony. One of the highlights was we had the Laurel High School choir there, and they sang about 4 or 5 songs, and they were fabulous. And we need to start getting them out a little bit more and coming to some of these city events, because the music and the singing was fabulous from them. On the 24th, I attended a Board of Appeals hearing on the 24th in reference to the Pure Synergy Hannah, which was going to put a medical marijuana facility at the Tasty Diner, and they withdrew their application. And then on the 27th, this past Sunday, I attended the second annual Health and Wellness Fair put on by Pat Haig and Joanne Barr, and it was fabulous. It's a great event. It's at the Armory. This is only the second year, and it's great. Everything that has to do with health and wellness. And Joanne Barr, I don't know how her and her group from the Parks and Rec, how they ever find time to sleep, because every event you see in the city, at least 2-3 times a week, and on the weekends, they're putting on some sort of event, and they're all great events. So congratulations to Joanne Barr and Pat Haig on another great event. That concludes my minutes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Councilman Sidnor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On January 21st, I attended the honor ceremony of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Like Councilman DeWalt said, it was well attended. I learned a lot of information as well. I didn't know Martin Luther King's name was Michael before he changed it to Martin, so I thought I was up on Black history, but I learned that last week. Also, on this 22nd of January, I visited Laurel High School, and I had a voter registration drive. The goal was to get 90 high school students to register to vote. In the state of Maryland, you can register to vote at 16, but you can't vote, elections to 18. But we always want to get young folks involved early. So we registered 38 people. So that was good. I want to thank Principal Jones and the Student Government Association for Laurel High School participating in that event. And also yesterday, the 27th, we attended a health fair, like Councilman DeWalt said. That was an outstanding event as well. So that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sidnor. Councilman Les.
Thank you, Mr. President. Indicated we had a nice ceremony here in front of City Hall for Martin Luther King's wreath laying. If you haven't had a chance, when the weather's nice, stop by. There's several interesting monuments out there that you can contemplate, especially the beam from the World Trade Center and a piece of the concrete wall for the wall in Berlin. So staff has been very diligent putting that part together, and our retired city administrator did a great job with that project, and several people have commented to me they've never seen anything like that, so stop by. On Sunday, I had a chance to attend Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Edward Rogers McWhitty at Mount Zion Church up in Fulton. Edward is a senior at Tamatha High School. He's the captain of the crew team. I did not get a chance to ask where he's going to go to college, but I'm sure he's got something picked out. And again, we've got 4 Cub Scouts here today, and hopefully they'll all strive to attain the rank of Eagle. That was my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Councilwoman Nicholas.
Thank you. In addition to what's already been said, I too attended the second annual Health and Wellness Fair. And it's just great to see that the city has taken such a robust approach to health. I just say that our health is our wealth. So everyone know your numbers and just continue to get yourself checked and stay healthy. Thanks.
Mayor Mo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me offer condolences to Nancy B. Craft and the family on the passing of Wayne B. Craft. Also to Marlene Collins, who's a a member of our Board of Appeals, and Jimmy Collins, who used to be our PIO here, on the passing of Marlene's mother. Also to Prince George County Council member Mel Franklin on the passing of his mother, and also to Marty Fleming. We offer our condolences on the passing of his mother as well, Regina Fleming. Get well wishes to Carol Thomas, who's a building custodian down at the Armory. Let me also take the opportunity again to welcome the Boy Scouts. We appreciate you all being here. 1673, so you did a fine job, and thank you all for coming out tonight. We did have our quarterly breakfast meeting, Mayor and Council, with the principals at the Laurel cluster of schools, and it was held and hosted by the Laurel Elementary School. The Prince George County Municipal Association did hold their monthly meeting at the Brentwood Town Hall, and the speaker for that night was our state's attorney, Alicia Brayboy. Just really the services that they're talking about providing and working with municipalities was really nice to hear. On January the 18th, you heard we laid our memorial wreath at our new memorial stone, and which is in dedication and a memorial of Dr. Martin Luther King. And we had our annual service. I want to thank all the employees, as I said that day, that have really kept this going on the last that Friday before Martin Luther King Day. I want to remind everyone the city will have their open house on Sunday, March the 3rd, 2019, from 1 to 4 at the Municipal Center here. There'll be just information on the website. Any booths left, Joanne? There is some opportunities if you're interested in putting up a booth, so you can contact Department of Park and Recreation. On the 21st, we had the National Day of Service held here at City Hall, and I want to again thanks to the Department of Communications for their hard work, and just really a great day. And I think as we move forward with this as an annual event, it'll only grow. So thank you all very much for your work. January the 23rd to the 24th and the 24th, I did attend the United States Conference of Mayors, which was held in D.C., and a lot of good information. Hope some of that will be passing along to council as well. On Saturday, they had the meet and greet for Roberta Phillips, who is the new Chief Executive Officer for the Prince George County Memorial Library System. If you didn't have the opportunity to stop by, it was from 3 until 4:30. Had the opportunity to discuss, some of her vision. I think, she's going to take the library system to the next level, and it was nice that she moved around the county and is out there greeting members of the community. As you heard, on the 27th, we had our annual health and wellness fair at the Anderson Murphy Community Center. Again, I want to acknowledge and thank Pat Haig in particular, who really put this together, but also all the vendors that showed and the general public. It's an opportunity to really learn, an opportunity to really be part of the community with all that show up. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we go to the mayoral appointments, I would just want to take things a bit out of order since we have a court reporter here tonight, and move to agenda item 8A. Second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1935, text amendment number 249, an ordinance to amend the Laurel Unified Land Development Code, Chapter 20, Land Development and Subdivision, Article 1, Zoning, Division 7, Signs and Advertising Structures, Section 2-17.2, Section 20-17.3, Section 20-17.5, Section 20-18.2, and Section 20-18.3 of the City Zoning Code to allow for existing billboards to be converted to digital billboards and providing an effective date. I have read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:15. Is there a sign up sheet? Is there anyone? Oh, I'm looking that way. Kristen.
Good evening, Mr. President. Text amendment application number 249, ordinance number 1935, was filed on July 23, 2018 by Clear Channel Outdoor, Inc. to amend the City of Laurel's Unified Land Development Code, Chapter 20, Article 1, Division 7, Sections 2017.2, 2017.3, 2017.5, 2018.2, and 2018.3 to allow for existing billboards to be converted to digital billboards. On December 10, 2018, the proposed ordinance was sent to the Maryland Department of Planning for comment. MPD provided no comment. The file contains a certificate of publication verifying that this application and public hearing was advertised as required by law. In the December 2nd, 2018, January 3rd, 2019, and January 10th, 2019 editions of the Prince George's Centennial. A memorandum from the City of Laurel Planning Commission to the Mayor and City Council dated January 15, 2019 reads as follows. At the regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission held January 15, 2019, the following action was taken on the subject zoning application to allow existing billboards to be converted to digital billboards. On motion by Mr. Wilson, seconded by Mr. Kish, and carried on a roll call vote of all members present, the Planning Commission recommended that the Mayor and City Council approve text amendment application number 249 as presented in the proposed ordinance number 1935. That concludes the reading of the file, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Pulley. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing at 7:17. Council, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President,
Councilman Lance,
I'll move for approval.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. President, I second that.
Thank you, Councilman Sidnor. Any discussion? Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mo?
I'm going to concur. Just want to acknowledge and thank the applicant for the work that they provided the city and working with us on it. So look forward to working with y'all. I concur.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll go back now to our regular order of the agenda. Agenda item 4A, mayoral reappointment of Michael Bleything to the Emergency Services Commission. The Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mike Bleything's been a very active member of the emergency services, former Laurel Police Department, retired lieutenant. And I was glad that he accepted the reappointment. I'd ask for your confirmation.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. President,
Councilman Lenz.
Mr. Bleything is well known to the members of this council and the city, and I move for approval of the mayor's appointment.
Thank you, Councilman Les. A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Any discussion?
I'd like to make one comment, Mr. Smalls.
Please.
When I came onto the police force, Mike Bleything was my first sergeant I ever worked for. He then became a lieutenant, and I know he had probably close to 30 years on, and we still remain good friends. I see him at least once or twice a month, and he was a great supervisor and a great mentor to me, and he's also a great leader in this community, and with the Lions Club, he's very well known all over the nation. So I just wanted to mention that to everyone.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Any other comments? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call for the vote.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. You're welcome, Mayor. Agenda item 5 is report of the city administrator.
Thank you,
Goddard.
Mr. President. We got a full agenda tonight, so I won't speak long. But before I get started, I do want to take a moment and extend a special thanks and appreciation to the Executive Director of the Washington Metropolitan Council of Governments, who is with us this evening and celebrating our second anniversary with COG. Chuck and his entire staff has been tremendously supportive and very helpful to all of us in the city as we have transitioned from City of Laurel to be very actively involved in the entire Washington Metropolitan Council of Governments. So I know Chuck's going to come up and make a presentation here shortly, but Chuck, on behalf of everyone here, thank you very much for all you do to help the city. You know, as I mentioned during our meeting last meeting in 2018, the format for the administrator's report was going to change. It used to be that I would stand up here and I would run down a shopping list of items that we had completed as a city on behalf of all the departments. And I think this change will be in a way that will really share with our viewing audience the tremendous role that the city staff plays in working with our citizens to make their lives a little better each day here in the city. I'd like to once again echo the comments that many here have heard me say in the past, that I have had a great opportunity to work in my professional career with so many good people in government, what I consider to be the best of the best. However, I must say that the city of Laurel is a special place. The city of Laurel has truly been blessed. All of us, all the citizens have been blessed with really the most passionate and caring employees that you're going to find anywhere at the federal level, the state level, the county level. This is the jewel. This is clearly a jewel here in the city. So with that spirit in mind, I'm going to get away from the bureaucratic me standing up and talking. And tonight we will begin a series of presentations that will really take you behind the scenes of those who do the work here in the city of Laurel. Those are the people that we call our unsung heroes. Everyone here, all the department heads, as I mentioned previously, we tend to get the credit, we get the limelight, we stand before you and we stand before the community and share with people what we do. But it is these individuals behind the scenes that really contribute in a positive way in the success to the city of Laurel. So it's only fitting that we start tonight with our Department of Communications, because without them, none of this really happens. So I'm going to introduce and ask Audrey Barnes if she'll come up and start our series of presentations we'll be making to the council and to the community every month. Audrey?
Thank you very much, Mr. Goddard and Mayor Mo and the City Council. Happy to start off this, what I consider to be a real special honor tonight. Get to talk about the people who make the City of Laurel so good at communicating with our residents. Just to tell you a little bit about me, part of the team too. After 30 years as a television news reporter and anchor, Mayor Mo asked me to come back home. I went to Laurel High School. He said, you want to come here and help me revamp our public access television station and help me run our fairly newly created Department of Communications? And I jumped at the chance. I think I was standing on a snowbank in Fairfax County reporting about the snowstorm that was coming through town. So his offer came at just the right time for me. I celebrate my 5th year anniversary with the city in March. So I'm really happy to be here. And I'm extremely proud of our dedicated and hardworking Department of Communications team. Some of them are here tonight. For example, Ed Thomas is my technical director, man of all trades. He's actually running some of the computers and graphics and things in here. And behind here is our studio. And I have Jan Moss, who's on the audio board, and Keston Decoto is running the 5 cameras that you see here in the council chamber that are broadcasting this council meeting live to the citizens of Laurel. My assistant director, Joyce Jackson, produced a short video on the entire Department of Communications team, so you get to know a little bit about what we do. And I have to say, I'm so proud of each and every one of our very tiny but very talented Department of Communication. Ed?
Hi, welcome to the Department of Communications.
I'm City of Laurel Communications Director Audrey Barnes, and I'm in charge of distributing information to Laurel residents and visitors about all the things that make our city a great place to live, work, and play. I'm also in charge of the passport office and the front desk because, as you will learn about Laurel City government, we believe in multitasking and cross-training so that no job gets left undone. Within the Department of Communications, we use many different ways of communicating with our residents and visitors. We send out press releases to the media and to hundreds of residents and businesses that are on our email distribution list. We also maintain more than half a dozen social media sites. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But by far the biggest tool that we use to communicate is Laurel TV. It's our public access television station, which is located within the Laurel Municipal Center. We not only broadcast more than 70 government meetings every year, we also produce more than 75 or 80 individual stories on things happening in the community and about our residents. We also invite in Laurel TV members to produce monthly shows here. We also have a number of people who will take gear and go produce stories on their own. My staff and I also put together a number of award-winning TV specials for the Laurel community. We have a multi-talented staff here that will tell you about the things they do to make communication such a great part of living in Laurel.
Hi, my name is Karen Kobeck, and I am the Public Information and Social Media Specialist for the City of Laurel. Basically, what my job is to do is to go on to social media and inform you. I need to make sure that you have all the information that you need in order to know what's going on in and around the city.
I am here Monday through Friday for the citizens of Laurel. I'm here to help you if you have any passport questions, problems, concerns, anything like that.
Hi, my name is Joyce Jackson. I'm the Assistant Director of Communications for the City of Laurel. My main job is the day-to-day operations of Laurel TV. We have a lot of great programming that you can see on Comcast, Channel 996 and Channel 71, and Verizon Channel 12. What we do is a lot of local programming. We also have programming from Oscar-nominated directors who send us documentaries. We have a partnership with Democracy Now! For our regular news, live news every day. We have locally produced stories. We have entertainment stories, nature shows, you name it. Our goal here is not to look like your average community access channel, and we don't. For instance, right now on Laurel TV, we're looking at a documentary on robotics and the future of robots. We've done stories on the STEM program here. We've also done stories, fun stories on the policemen competing in the Ironman competition. We do a lot of different features that are really, really great programming. I also work with local residents to develop shows, and they come up with some pretty good ideas. We have a financial show, Your Future, Your Finances. We also have a business show, C-Suite, to give local business owners all kinds of information on how to make their businesses better. Council Connection, great show. That's when all of our city council members get to come on and tell our residents what's going on in their ward. So my job is to take all of these ideas, create great television and create shows and teach as well on what is good TV so that we have great programming for all of us to watch for the community and let you know what's going on in your own backyard. Now, let's take a walk over to the studio, and I'm going to introduce you to our technical director so you can actually see all of this in action.
As George said, I'm the technical director. So right now, we're in the middle of, we just shot a show, as you can see behind me, Your Future, Your Finance, which is our business show on our news set. So right now, we're about to transition, Darnell and Jana helping move gear and cameras onto this side to face our interview set, which we'll have Meet the Author, which is filming.
So that's a quick look at some of what happens in the Department of Communications. Don't forget, if you want to watch us, if you live within the city limits, we're on Comcast Channel 996 or 71 or Verizon Channel 12. We're also live streamed anywhere, anytime on laureltv.org. If you miss a government meeting or want to see a story that you might have missed, we also have a Laurel TV official YouTube channel. And can we just give a round of applause to my team? I love my team. My department is so tiny, I can name everybody in it real quickly. You saw the reporters, Mylea Laughlin, John Luke Saphir, also Kayleen Yermel, who's a Laurel resident. Darnell Butler is one of my auxiliaries. Jan Moss is on audio. My passport agents, Mary Blankenship. Joan Anderson is still a part-time passport agent for us as well. Karine Kobeck, social media and public information. Christine Johnson is my admin, and Joanna Carilla is our front desk receptionist. And that is the entire Department of Communications. And we'll be featuring these videos on every single department. All the department heads that you see here, you guys are next. Who's up? So you'll see them at upcoming meetings. And Bill, thank you for the opportunity. We enjoyed it. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Goddard, the bar has been set pretty high by the Department of Communications, so we expect nothing less to dazzle us with future department presentations.
And every department's up to the challenge. Look forward to it.
Sure
Thank you,
are.
Mr. President.
I'm sure they are. Councilwoman Nicholas?
I just want to say that was excellent. Excellent.
Any other comment? No?
I concur.
Mr. Goddard, that's it? That's your report? Excellent, okay. We will move to agenda item 6, presentation, the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. You'll come forward, sir, please. Give your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Chuck Bean, and I'm the Executive Director of the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, and our office is at 777 North Capitol Street Northeast in Washington, D.C.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President Smalls and Mayor Moe and council members. We have a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know if it's been provided ahead of time, but it's on the screen, and embedded in a couple of slides here is video that takes about 2 minutes, but it'll save me about 10 minutes of talking. Council of Governments was created in 1957. It covers this footprint that's on the PowerPoint map in Maryland, includes Frederick, Montgomery, Prince George's, and Charles counties, all the counties of Northern Maryland and the District of Columbia. And when we say member, it's the member jurisdiction, but also the elected officials of the region we consider members of the Council of Governments. And I think, Thomas, if you want to hit the video. 60 years ago, the governments of the region came together to form COG, and we're still meeting today. The future of the region is our business, and collaboration is how we get there.
The Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments is a regional body that convenes elected officials from all over the Washington metropolitan area.
We all call it affectionately in this region COG. And it, as a Council of Governments, is a facilitator of regional opportunity.
I think if I were to try to describe COG in one word, it would be unifying.
Yes, COG is a forum for discussion, but I think we're also a forum for regional problem solving. Coming through our doors are the police chiefs, the fire chiefs, the housing directors, transportation experts, environmental experts, making their cities and counties better and making the region a better place.
COG has something for everyone. If it's transportation, if it's environmental, if it's emergency preparedness and public safety, all of those things are things that COG addresses.
We're a very dynamic region, and that's what makes us a great place to live and work.
And one of our major regional challenges is planning how we're going to accommodate an additional 1.5 million people. And that is part of all of our work.
It's all about infrastructure. Your economy is based on how people get from place to place to trade goods and services.
The Transportation Planning Board, TPB at COG, has really been at the center of the region's efforts at improving transportation, promoting transportation efficiency.
COG staff are experts in their field. They're urban planners and civil engineers, even biologists and emergency management professionals.
It has been an invaluable opportunity for the city of Rockville. We have been able to access research, data, expertise, have conversations that we wouldn't have just on our own.
Whether you're the District of Columbia, you're Loudoun County, or Charles County, everyone has a seat at the table.
Leading political figures in each of our jurisdictions are here on the COG board. And so if you want to get something done, this is where you get things done.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Go back to the PowerPoint. Through our doors come probably 1,000 to 1,500 people every month. These include elected officials that would be part of the COG board or TPB, but also appointed officials or subject matter experts that participate on one of our many committees. And I would agree with Councilmember Nicholas about the great presentation that we just heard. We have a Public Information Officers Committee, and I hope that you'll become active and add your voice to that.
Mm-hmm.
Good. About our structure, the Council of Governments Board of Directors is the overarching body, and we also have the National Capital Region Transportation Planning Board, or TPB, which I'll describe in just a moment. In an agreement by the two governors and the mayor, we also host the Metropolitan Washington Air Quality Committee. The COG board has several policy committees. What I refer to as the technical committees are the Fire Chiefs Committee, the Police Chiefs Committee, the Emergency Managers Committee, the Recycling Committee, et cetera. And at the top of all those technical committees is the Chief Administrative Officers Committee, in which all the city and county managers from the region participate on a monthly basis. About our organization, we have about 130 staff. Our largest department is our Department of Transportation, followed by environmental programs, which includes air quality, water quality, and different kinds of water, drinking water security, wastewater, stormwater management, also community planning and services, which includes housing, and Homeland Security and Public Safety. I mentioned the Transportation Planning Board. Around the country, there are over 300 MPOs, or Metropolitan Planning Organizations. Any urbanized area that has 50,000 people or more must have an MPO. It's how transportation planning is done throughout the country. An MPO, one of its products is a 6-year transportation plan for the metropolitan region, and also a 25-year projection for the metropolitan region. In order for any locality to receive funding for any project, receive federal funding for any project, it must be part of that MPO's plan. So there's a carrot for everybody to be participating together in this regional plan. A little bit about our connection with Laurel. As part of our long-range plan I mentioned a moment ago, and the 6-year plan called the Transportation Improvement Program, $262,000 came through for this corridor study cited on the PowerPoint, and for the road project, another $24,500, I think, in feasibility planning. We also administer several grants to enhance mobility for physically and otherwise challenged individuals, including a grant to the Arc of Prince George's County, a grant to the Jewish Council for the Aging, and a grant to the regional organization Columbia Lighthouse for the Blind. COG is often the place where it makes sense to run a media campaign or community engagement campaign. This includes Street Smart twice a year, promoting bicyclist and pedestrian safety. We also administer commuter connections for the region. So any member of the public from Laurel or Prince George's County, for example, would be able to sign up for commuter connections if they're looking for a ride share, be part of a van pool. Commuter connections would be the way to go. A program of commuter connections is Guaranteed Ride Home. And that's in the event of, if it's a deterrent to be part of a van pool or car share. Well, what if I need to get home to a sick family member? And the Guaranteed Ride Home pays for that taxi for the person to come home, somebody that participates in the Commuter Connections program. Other community engagement campaigns that we administer for the region: Go Recycle campaign, Protect Your Pipes campaign, which is administered not only with the jurisdictions, but also with water and sewer authorities of the region. Medication Take Back Day, and Tap It, Metro DC, which promotes drinking water and the availability of free drinking water in order to provide an incentive for using tap water rather than plastic bottled water. Turning to Homeland Security and Emergency Safety, Council of Governments administers RICS, which is the Regional Incident Communication Coordination System. This is a 24/7 system, and officials that participate in the program will get email alerts, text alerts, depending on how many groups that they are subscribing to as part of the system. They may get 2 or 3 emails a day, or they may get a dozen emails a day, transportation incidents, for example. I think Mr. Goddard would be the point person to determine who would be appropriate to participate in the RIC system for Laurel. Last year, we had about 16 conference calls on snow emergencies and other emergencies. There will be a call tonight as we discuss the weather for tomorrow. So COG convenes this on behalf of the Office of Personnel Management, National Weather Service. When we had the 10 inches of snow that came, what was that, a few weeks ago, time kind of stands still in my mind. We had a conference call the night before. On that call, there's almost 200 people on that call. They're all muted, but it's very systematic. Office of Personnel Management, what's your posture? What questions do you have? A briefing that everyone hears at the same time from National Weather Service. What are they seeing? And then on the call are also MDOT, DDOT, VDOT, WMATA, MARC, VRE. So everybody's in one place. What are the road conditions? What's your posture given this forecast? What questions do you have? It's not necessarily that the decision will be made at that call, but in that 20-minute, 25-minute span, everyone have the information firsthand. And then OPM would make its decision probably within half an hour to an hour of that call, relay it to us, and we immediately relay it to all of the participating jurisdictions. So tonight, the call is at a reasonable hour. Usually these calls happen at 3 a.m. I think one area to kind of wrap up on is a way to save money by making purchases together. The jurisdictions have what is called the COG rider. So when Fairfax County or Montgomery County or WMATA, which participates, makes a procurement, there's the COG rider clause embedded in that contract. So any participating COG member jurisdiction, including Laurel, can ride that contract. So there's administrative ease to that, and it's often the best price that one would find in the market. So that applies to gasoline and diesel fuel. We've been working the last couple of years on alternative fuel vehicles and alternative fuel vehicle infrastructure, subscriber radios for first responders, road salt and ice melt, and working in the last year or two with our particular water utilities, water and wastewater treatment chemicals, so they could be procuring those chemicals together and have greater negotiating power with the suppliers. Coming up are some procurements and services related to health and public safety training, including the self-contained breathing apparatus, which will be available to Laurel in just a couple of months. So happy to answer questions. I know this all went very quickly. I didn't necessarily talk about some of the regional challenges or regional opportunities. Happy to engage with the council either tonight or at some other point. The overarching body, again, is the COG Board of Directors. Glad that Mayor Mo has been so active on that, plus the Transportation Planning Board, MWAC, and the following that are listed there are policy committees that are elected officials from throughout the region under the COG Board's auspices, focusing on specific issues. So, Council President Smalls, Mayor Mo, council members, thank you for allowing me to be here with you tonight. I hope I haven't overstayed my welcome. There'll be lots to talk about, but I know you got a full docket.
Well, I thank you, Mr. Bean, on behalf of the council. I'm going to ask if there are any questions or comments that anyone would like to make regarding COG. We're very excited and have been about our participation with COG. Certainly looking at the broad range of support services that COG provides to elected officials and obviously eventually to our residents, the people we serve. So we're certainly appreciative of everything COG does. Mayor Mo?
I just want to acknowledge Chuck's work and thank you for working with the city of Laurel. Appreciate that. I did get something in the mail the other day and I meant to bring it. Survey that COG is doing. You may want to mention that just for those that may be listening and those. I already did my survey, so.
Thank you, sir. As the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the region, we developed a model and shared that model for transportation planning and what will be expected from transportation, not only in the next few years, but going out of the next 10 years, the next 15 years. We work with all the planning directors on how many jobs are expected in this region, what's the population expectation in the region in 2030, 2035, and what are the transportation impacts. A lot of that we get from secondary data that influences our model, but we also are the primary gatherer of first order information. So as this survey goes out to citizens of the region, it informs the model about what we'd like to see in the region, what could be better.
Takes all of about 5 minutes. I encourage the residents or those in the audience that may see. You'll get a little postcard that has a little emblem you can see on the bottom there. So don't throw it away. Please take the opportunity to fill it out. I think it's very important information that will be beneficial to everybody in the region. So thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr. President, can we take a 5-minute recess so I can say bye to the Cub Scouts so they get a little restless over there?
Okay, well, Councilman, before you dismiss them, let me mention that Scouts, it's been a pleasure to have you guys here this evening. If you want minutes from this meeting or any council meeting, please see the council office. Ms. Rao, our clerk to the council, will be more than happy to take care of whatever you need. And I have to mention this, since the Maryland General Assembly is in session, if you can ever get a trip down to Annapolis during the day to see our state legislature in session, I think it'll be a worthwhile trip. Plus, there are a bunch of good places to eat in Annapolis, so it'll be a worthwhile trip. Thank you guys for being here. We'll take a 5-minute break. call our meeting back to order. If you'll take your seats, please. Agenda item 7 is our general public hearing. I will open the general public hearing at 7:52. Each speaker is asked to give their name and address for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. I have one person signed up to speak, Leah Paley from Lars. Leah, if you'll give your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Leah Paley. I'm the Executive Director at Laurel Advocacy and Referral Services. Our address is 311 Laurel Ave. I'm here tonight for a few reasons. One, I wanted to say thank you to the City of Laurel government for your past financial and in-kind support over the years. I also wanted to say thank you to the council members who I've had the opportunity to speak with recently, and also to Mayor Mo, who's granted me a meeting. And I do hope to meet with those of you who I haven't met with already. So I am here to respectfully request for the 2020 budget to have Lars be considered in that budget in the amount of $10,000. I would like to say that I am pretty unfamiliar with the city's budgetary process. Typically, we're attending county or talking with state legislators, so I'm not as familiar with how this process goes. So I appreciate you bearing with me, and also wanted to really be here to highlight some of the things that our organization does. I know that each and every one of you are very familiar with the organization, but I think I just personally wanted to make sure that it was on the record. I think it's important for everyone to maybe take a moment and think about this community without our organization. We have been here for 32 years. We are, to the best of my knowledge, one of the only social safety net providers right here in this community, and we really do a lot. And I imagine if we were not here, that there would be quite a few calls to the city requesting help, and people not knowing what to do when they face needs such as needing food assistance or eviction prevention. For those maybe not familiar, it's estimated that 8% of Laurel residents are living below the federal poverty line. And for a single parent with 2 children in Prince George's County, they would need to earn $31.90 an hour in order to meet their family's basic needs. And this is more than 3 times the federal poverty line for a single parent with 2 children. Approximately 95% of the people coming into our organization are living below the federal poverty line, and 22% have absolutely no income. With fair market rent for a 2-bedroom in Prince George's County sitting well above $1,700, many residents are struggling to maintain their housing, and they're turning to organizations like Lars. We have provided emergency services to low-income and homeless residents since 1987. We strive to remain responsive to the growing needs of our community, not only meeting their basic needs, but also digging deeper to address the root causes of their financial challenges. In the most recent fiscal year that ended, we had almost 1,800 households that came through our doors, over 5,300 visits to our organization. We were able to distribute over 8,000 bags of food and helped a little over 100 households with clothing vouchers. In the past 12 months, we had just over 80 households receive rental assistance, and of those, 40% lived right here in the city of Laurel. We have 22 households that are living in supportive housing. They are in apartments that are leased in our name. These are individuals who are chronically homeless and disabled. And of those 22, 8 are within the city limits, living in the city limits. We also have a self-sufficiency program whereby 7 stabilized individuals are working very closely with one of our case managers in order to maintain their permanent housing, improve their financial habits, gain employment, and remove other barriers to self-sufficiency. Funding from the city would allow us to maintain the core programs that we currently provide, and in addition to that, allow us to retain the high-quality staff that we have, whose knowledge of our resources and development of partnerships and complementary service providers are crucial to our client success. So I do thank you. I really do, and I appreciate all the support that the city gives us. I do have copies of this, which I'm happy to leave with whomever, the clerk. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I could, I want to thank Leah for responding to some questions I had. I think she can tell I'm a data-driven person. I appreciate it. I'll have some more questions for you eventually, maybe when we meet.
Wonderful. That would be great.
But I appreciated you responding to me right away.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you for your interest.
I'd like to say something too. Thanks for coming. You know, I know all too well about your services. I bring a lot of people, refer quite a few people there, so I'm very familiar with the needs of the city. I would like a copy of your statement because I'm very interested in those statistics that you gave.
Absolutely. I've got a copy for everyone. I apologize. They're not all on letterhead, but
that's okay.
I signed them all. Thank you.
Council President Smalls, could I make a comment?
Yes, please.
I looked over the budget and what Leah would, I guess, Lars would fall under, and the part of the budget is the community promotion contributions / nonprofits. Dating back to 2016-2017 budget, we budget $38,900 for that year. And in actuality, we spent $21,350. Then the 2017-2018 budget, again, $38,900, and we actually spent $12,801. Then if you look at the 2018-2019 budget, it's $38,900 again, we budgeted, and the only money spent so far was the first generation college bound, which is $5,000. So you're looking at a lot of money in that contributions nonprofit that goes unspent. And if you just would add 10,000 to each one of those years, we're still not even near what we budgeted for that. So the money is definitely there. The thing that shocks me is that when you go out in our community, the people we basically will see where it catches your eyes, maybe as a homeless person walking down Main Street, sleeping somewhere where he's not supposed to be sleeping, something like that. But if you go to Lars, especially when under Chief McLaughlin and Chief Gilmore, and who are both present tonight, we did the turkey handouts during Christmas and Thanksgiving, hams. Families just came endlessly to pick up food during the holidays. We also did events that created a lot of money and toys that were donated, and a lot of these families would not have Christmas or holidays without Lars. And if you go into Lars during those events, all of a sudden you'll see some of your neighbors there. What's really shocking is that it's just not the homeless people that you might see walking here or there, but it's some of your neighbors that live almost right next to you. They'll show up there. And that's shocking to me to see that they actually need help too. So there's so many families that Lars takes care of, and so many events and so much food that it shouldn't even exist in today's society, but it does. And thank God we have Lars to take care of that. And I think it's a no-brainer in not helping them. When people need things, Lars is there. And there's going to be times where organizations like Lars, because of cutbacks, because of maybe a low portion of contributions, things like that, they might need help. And I don't see why, since in the last 3 budget years, we've had a more than enough excess that we can't contribute $10,000 to them.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Mayor?
Yeah. I just want to make sure everybody's clear. We do contributions to you, to Lars. In the last, I guess, since 2004, it's roughly about $50,000 in cash that we provided to you all. And when we meet, I'll give you all that documentation. But more importantly, what we do, I think is very important, is the police department in particular does a lot of in-kind services. When we talk about manpower, when we talk about vehicle use, as well as any of the facilities. We all participated in many different fundraisers that you all do. But we will talk about the funding. As I said to you before, I don't think there's a problem. In fact, the council president and I will come down and we'll present you a $5,000 check here tonight as well, which was in the budget for this year.
Thank you.
That most of the council voted for. And
Grateful. Thank you.
so that's, we'll have that for you. And then we'll talk about the other as we move forward. So if you want to come down.
Surprise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. And as you've heard from the mayor, Councilman Les, Councilman DeWalt, we're all very supportive of Laura's, and it means a lot to those of us seated here as well as around the city to maintain the success that Laura's continues to have. So you certainly have our support. Agenda item 8B. Second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1936, an ordinance to amend the Laurel City Code, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 4, Public Ethics, Sections 2-52, 2-54, and 2-57, to allow for certain technical changes, to expand the list of those who may be subject to financial disclosure requirements, to change the manner of providing legal counsel to the Ethics Commission, to expand the list of those who must file a conflict of interest disclosure statement with the Ethics Commission, and providing an effective date. I read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open a public hearing at 8:04. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 8:05. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, I vote yes to move ordinance number 1936.
Thank you, Councilman Sidnor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mo?
Agenda item 8C, second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1937, an ordinance to amend the Laurel City Code, Chapter 6, Campaigning and Campaign Financing, Sections 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, and 6-5, and Article 2, Campaigning and Campaign Financing, Sections 6-30, 6-31, 6-32, 6-33, 6-35, and 6-36, to allow for certain technical changes and changes regarding the provision and distribution of information in connection with candidacies, information to be provided on a certificate of candidacy, financial disclosure statements to be filed in connection with a certificate of candidacy, the filing fee for a certificate of candidacy, the manner of filing a certain certificate of candidacy, the late filing fee for the report or statement of contributions and disbursements, those individuals authorized to remove a non-compliant election sign, and the requirement that all candidates be fully qualified registered voters in Prince George's County, Maryland, and providing an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open a public hearing at 8:07. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 8:07. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve ordinance 1937.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nicholas. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call for the vote.
Miss Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mo?
Concur.
Agenda item 8D, second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 1-19, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel authorizing and approving the participation of the city in potential litigation in the state of Maryland against those responsible for the opioid addiction problem in and around the city of Laurel, and authorizing the employment of legal counsel to represent the city in this litigation. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I will open the public hearing at 8:08. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 8:08. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Councilman Les.
move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nicholas. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Miss Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Mr. President, I'd like to just say something before I vote.
Yes, please.
Okay, when this first came before the council, I was adamant that, based on my background and the research I've done, that this funding was available for this. And but as I did more research, watched a New York Times article that was written by Barry Mayers on May 29th, 2018. And I'll just read one paragraph to you. He said, based on their findings after 4 years investigation, the prosecutor recommended that 3 top Purdue Pharmaceutical executives be indicted on felony charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States that could send them in prison. Unfortunately, though, they did not send these guys to prison. It was a settlement of $643 million. They got community service, and they pleaded guilty in 2007. So this is a problem start at the top level, not just, pharmaceutical company distributors, but our government, our prosecutors, not prosecuting these guys that's misleading the public. And so I'm going to change my decision. I'm going to vote yes to the city to move forward with this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Sidnor.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mo?
Concur.
Thank you. Agenda item 9 is special recognition. Police Chief Richard McLaughlin. Mayor Mo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rich, I thought you thought it was going to be a short meeting tonight, huh? Yeah, going out with a bang. On October 2018, I received a letter of retirement from Chief McLaughlin stating that he would retire effective January 31st, 2019. Chief McLaughlin started his career as a police communications specialist on July the 7th, 1986. And Rich, you were making $7.06 an hour. I don't know where the 6 cents came from, but that's what you were making. The letter to hire Rich as a police communications specialist stated that the oral board recommended him, and it was signed by Paul D. Johnson, the chief police communications specialist, Sergeant Wally Mitchell, and PFC Fred Carman Jr. I thought so. On December the 18th, 1987, Rich transferred to become a sworn police officer in the Laurel Police Department. 1 year later, on December the 18th, 1988, he was promoted to PFC. On June the 10th, 1995, he was promoted to the rank of corporal. You served as the acting sergeant from December the 18th, 1996 until June the 1st, 1997, and then you were promoted to sergeant on February the 14th, 1998. On January the 13th, 2001, Rich was promoted to lieutenant, and on March the 27th, 2001, Chief Dave Crawford promoted you to the deputy police chief position. From November 28th, 2007 until December 17th, 2007, you were appointed as acting police chief. December the 1st, 2010, you were appointed by Mayor Craig Moe and confirmed by all city council members to be the City of Laurel's next police chief, a position you have held until January the 31st, 2019. Let me highlight some of Chief McLaughlin's accomplishments. Safety school zones, automatic speed enforcement program. This continues and it's been endorsed by AAA and other organizations. The design and build of the Barkman Kaiser Public Safety Complex, which is a state-of-the-art facility, police facility and community room. Not only did you watch over that, we had to move from one facility to the other, which is very difficult. You increased the K-9 teams, which allowed for faster response of dogs and also increased the increase of safety officer during building searches and other times dogs were needed. The approval of experienced police officer pay, as well as reimbursement of recruits that paid their own way through the community college academies. The new radio system that allowed us interoperability for surrounding agencies, automatic AEDs for another word, defibrillators program, which are placed in all police cars. Narcan, which all officers carry, patrol officers carry, and which you've had several saves. You should be very proud of those programs, both the AED program and the Narcan. You worked on diversity in the agency. Laurel Police Department continues to move forward with diversity makeup in the department and recruiting in non-traditional venues to include historical black college, the NAACP job fairs, military fairs, and others. You put medical return boxes not only in the police department but out here to allow the appropriate disposal and destruction of unwanted and unused medicines. Most of the time it's once a year. As people know, it's a national program. Rich made sure that anytime people wanted to drop off unused medicines, you could drop it off at the police department. No questions asked. And then added another box up here at City Hall. You maintain the DARE program for 4 elementary schools. You work with the city council members on the Drive 25 program. You increase community involvement, engagement, and trust in the Laurel community. You started the Coffee with the Chief program. You created an Office of Professional Standards and Backgrounds to allow consistent and internal background investigations on individuals. You brought in a standalone live scan fingerprint system, not only one, but 2, one of those for the officers and the other for the community when you're working with them on fingerprints when people needed them for a job. You implemented some of the following: the body-worn camera program. You started the taser program here in the city, the drone program, which I think got up a little bit and then got back down, but it's still there waiting. The winter cops camp, the new SWAT truck, the new evidence truck you oversaw, the new prisoner transport vehicle, which is now being built. You increased the K-9 vehicles, electronic ticketing for traffic citations, and tactical emergency casualty care training. You participated in mediation with the Prince George County National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, and the Department of Justice. You opened dialogue with many in the community, which I think not only residents, but the business community. You've done much for this city in your time here. I want to personally thank you for all the work that you did. And what I read here, there could be 4 or 5 more pages that I could read here tonight on the things that Rich has done. So on behalf of the mayor and city council, we have, I actually have a city pin, Rich, I want to present that to you. I'm not giving you one of those, you've got numerous ones. But in recognition of your 33 years of outstanding and dedicated service to the citizens of Laurel and the Laurel Police Department, congratulations on your retirement. Sincere thanks for the many years of loyal and dedicated service. Signed by me. Got a couple other things for you. We actually,
Great, you broke it.
good thing it's a retirement badge. It's your Chiefs, City of Laurel Police Department Chiefs badge. It now states retirement, but you got a little bit more to go. And then we've got bag there, and then let me ask the council president.
Chief, I'll ask each council member who want to come up and make some comment, but I want to thank not only for what you've done for the residents of this city, but what you've done for me and my family personally. You've been not just a police chief to us, but you've been a friend also. I'm not going to use the words "you'll be missed around here" because I'm sure whether you're physically here or not, your presence will certainly always be felt. I want to present to you a card signed by council members. I myself wishing you well.
Thank you very
Congratulations
much.
on a successful career here in Laurel.
Ask the department heads to come on up, and then we'll.
I just want to say thank you for your service. Every event I've shown up at, you usually meet me there as well with council. And behind every great man, there's a great woman. So I want to acknowledge Jennifer too, because she's wonderful. She's a good friend of mine. Jennifer stood out in the cold with me for a very long time, and I will never forget that. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
I just want to say congratulations, Chief. As a first-year council member, you opened your door to me. Any problems we had, you wanted to answer it. So I really appreciate your knowledge, understanding. Thank you.
Rich informed me tonight that he got his first pay stub from his retirement, and I told him I'll try my best to make sure that eventually he will get a cost of living in that pay stub next time, maybe next time.
Congratulations.
A phone call from Laurel Leader today. But Jessica, is that her name? Okay. She said you referred her to me. But anyways, so she said, well, how long have you known Rich? And I said, I think it's 30 years when he came to the Laurel Police Department. I was right. All right, memory's still serving me correct. But I just want to say that I pointed out to her that he's been a community-oriented police chief. Went to school here. I think his heart is here. He has treated people with respect. And as the mayor said, he's overseen a lot of change in the police department over the last 30 years. So again, Rich, enjoy your retirement. We're going to ask the department head. We'll ask the department heads to come up if you'll state your name and what department, so the general public and those.
Kevin Frost. I am the Director of Information Technology. And Chief, I would like to, on behalf of the technology staff myself, just thank you. Easy and caring. And that's what we like it. So I do want to talk about some of the stuff that's happened under your tutelage and probably from your deputy chief on, because it wasn't long after I got here that we really started to roll out a whole bunch of stuff. And we did a major CAD RMS upgrade. We then put, for the first time ever, computers in our police cars. We then put cameras in our police cars, multiple cameras. We rolled into, I huge radio interoperability deployment at the county level. We deployed live scans, fingerprinting for criminal, and then we did for our citizens as a service. We put electronic ticketing in vehicles. We did license plate readers. Body-worn cameras was mentioned, and I believe that was the first in the state deployed citywide. So there was a long period there where Laurel was looked at as a technology leader in police law enforcement. And that was you at the front of that. And then we also had the Barkman Kaiser building. That was a huge job to put that building together. The mayor had an interesting date he mentioned tonight, December 18th, 1987, the first day as a police officer. That was the day my family and I moved to the city of Laurel. We moved in, and we're both still here. So lastly, I just want to thank you for just being the police. Day, night, weekend, holidays, and the wind and the rain and the snow and the ice and the blistering heat of 4th of July, 32 of them, I guess, Main Street festivals, all of that, I want to thank you. And as a life member of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, I want to thank you as a longtime member of the Laurel Volunteer Rescue Squad. A lot of people don't know that. And with that, I'll give you this, a small token of appreciation. Hopefully you'll be in the hammock in the summer listening to that, using it. And as I've said before, as I've retired and come up with another job, you're going to land on your feet and you're going to be looking forward to the future. Thanks.
That's hard to follow for a quiet person, but I'm the Michelle Saylor, Director of Budget and Personnel Services. Just token of appreciation from the ladies in Budget and Personnel. And I just want to thank you. All the things that Mr. Frost discussed took money to accomplish, but the chief was always very conscientious about his budget and about his expenses. And I really appreciate working with you. It was a pleasure, but even more, I appreciate your friendship.
Good evening. My name is Krishna Poli. I'm the Director of Economic Community Development. Hi, Chief. Hi. I just want to thank you for all your public safety knowledge that you have given to my department over the years on various zoning applications. This is just a small token from the department. Also, I just wanted to say thank you for all the words and encouragement you've given me as I became a director a couple years ago. I appreciate it.
I'm Joanne Barr. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation. Chief, I have been here 30 years and have known you for 30 years, and I can say in that time, clearly you were very busy, as the mayor said, but never too busy to help in the Department of Parks and Recreation. So much of what we could not have done without you and your department. You never minimize the activities. People don't realize that part of what we do is having a good time, but we need people to make sure that people are safe while they're doing it. And anytime we needed help, regardless of how big or how small the request, you were there. You're always willing to help us. I just can't say enough about your leadership, your department, and we love the Barkman Kaiser Safety Complex and partnership also. Can't thank you enough for that. And we wish you the best and know that great things are to come for you.
I'm Joseph Ajay, Assistant Director from the Department of Public Works. When I joined Public Works in 2004, I don't think many people realize how close Public Works and Police Department work. I know Chief Moore, and abruptly he was leaving for Rochester. I asked myself, oh, that's a diligent, efficient chief of police. Why is he leaving? Then, of course, Crawford came in. He was doing work. But I never knew we were going to have excellent chief officer coming after them. in Rich McLaughlin. I'm not flattering you, but the way we've worked together, and we've met in so many places because public works and LPD safety is very important. Your DUI, you always call us. Then, of course, weekend, Saturday, my Sunday sometimes, you call me for traffic signal. I'm running out there. Your officers are waiting for me. And we work together, we make sure the safety of the citizens of Laurel works well. And we continue to, and one other thing that we note about you with our department is you not only just come to our yard to get gas or to service your car, but you are interested in individual. You come and you ask us, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Our boss is sick. And you know he's one of your best friends. You always make sure you stay close. In recognition of that, everybody in the department, nobody, management decided to sign this up. They said, this certificate is proudly presented to Richard McLaughlin in recognition of outstanding support. This certificate hereby entitles Richard McLaughlin to one Rob's Roast, an open invitation to all public works events. We appreciate you. We love you.
Hi, I'm Dave Cope. I'm the director of the Fire Marshal's Office, and I actually brought one of my employees, Mike Thomas, with me. A couple things I want to tell Rich. It's been a pleasure working with you, from the ups and downs we've had, from you explaining to me about not crossing yellow tape on a fire call, still kind of there. But I want to take you back 30 years, Rich, because you and I have had this discussion many times. And I always say if you'd have got one more point on that test, you would have been a firefighter and you wouldn't have been a police officer. So today, I brought my loyal employee, Mike Thomas, and we went back 30 years, and we regraded the test on a curve. Well, this time, you passed the test. So what we want to do, our first presentation is, we want to give you your official Fire Marshal's badge. And on the back, it's done by Sprinkler the Clown, so that's your Fire Marshal's badge. It's been a pleasure, Rich. The second is our department was put this together, and we'd like to read this to you. Presented to Chief Richard McLaughlin, the Fire Marshal's Office would like to thank you for your 30 years of dedicated service to the city of Laurel and appreciate it. Rich, whatever you do in your future, it's always been a pleasure. For every year I've been here at the city, it's always been a person I could call up, discuss something with, and get a straight answer. Even when he got locked up, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Rich. We'll appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Pleasure serving with you, buddy. Congratulations.
I said department heads.
Here, I'll escort him out there. That's good. You can be my guest.
I was asked by the city administrator to come on up, Your Honor. Rich, wow. Who'd have thought? I remember over 30 years ago, you were calling me up, waking me up in the middle of the night, mostly telling me that there were snowflakes hitting the ground. And then I remember when you became chief of police, I was calling you up in the middle of the night, asking you what's up with the helicopters. So turnabout's fair play. I've always enjoyed working with all the chiefs that we've had in the city. I think, no offense, Chief, but I think I had more fun with Rich than most. I certainly remember a couple of the projects that caused you no end of grief. One was our Can You Hear Me Now when the new radio system was installed. That was certainly a joy. And then I remember when the mayor brought into being the concept of the new police department. There was a lot of involvement from all the departments in that, but you certainly took the bull by the horns and you ran with that project. That building is certainly has your name deeply engraved in it. I couldn't imagine having anybody else turning out such an outstanding product as that police department that we have there. Long in coming and well deserved. I enjoyed my time with you. All I got with me, I don't have a budget for these things anymore, but had I had a budget, what you would have had would have been on 4 wheels brought in here on a trailer, but sorry, I can't help you out there.
I'm going to let the deputy chief go last. So I wanted to give you something from the Department of Communications. You know, we're all about media, and you and I've had our battles. There's been many times I wanted to get you on camera when you said you weren't going to do it. So we worked through those issues, but I do have photographic proof that 3 months after I got here in the city of Laurel, almost 5 years ago, we actually did get you on camera. This is one of the most important initiatives that you have brought to the city of Laurel since I've been here, was getting people to not make those Hollywood turns when they stop at the stopping on red, right? So this was the first press conference that you and I did together from the Communications Department, the Laurel Police Department. We called a press conference to announce the stop on red signs that were going up around the city of Laurel. And we had the big boys show up. We had television stations from Washington, Baltimore. We also got AAA to come out and be here. So this is proof that I actually did get Keith McLaughlin on camera since I was here as communications director. So thank you for working with us and all you do to keep the citizens of Laurel safe over your time here. We really appreciate it. Gonna miss you. Okay.
See how much I've aged in 5 years?
Yeah, and I got a nice letter from an individual today about her red light camera, so I might have well forward that too. It was a very nice letter, I might add. We're going to ask the deputy chief, and then I know the Board of Trade, and I think, Roy, did you want to say something? Chief Gilmore, did you? No? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Gray. I'm the Deputy Chief of Police for the City of Laurel, and he hired me. And one of the things that I want you all not to forget throughout this entire recognition is that for 33 years, he was in law enforcement, but he chose to stay here in the city of Laurel. A lot of police officers, they build their resumes and they're off someplace else, but he decided to stay here. As I say that, he couldn't have been successful in the position that he is undertaking unless he had somebody who was supporting him and supporting him 24/7. So in recognition of that, I would like to bring Miss Jen. Would you come up for a minute, please? You indulge me, the mayor. Laurel Police Department appreciates your dedication and you allowing him to work with us. So if you'll accept these flowers as a appreciation from us, Laurel. We here at Laurel Police Department, on behalf of the men and women of the department, we appreciate what the chief has done for us. Everybody who retires from the police department want to have something to remember the good times, the bad times. And what we've done at the department is we want to present this to the chief, and we want him to open it here because we want you to see exactly what took place throughout his career. This is called, I'll let you undress it first, then I'll tell you what it is. This is called the shadow box. And this shadow box depicts every position that he's held in the police department. So Chief, we want you to take this shadow box, and as you hang it on your wall in your basement as you're watching the football games, look over and glance and remember those good times that you had with the police department and the bad times. But we appreciate what you did for us. Thank you. Hold on. Thank you very much.
We have a couple others that are going to make some remarks, and I just want you to know, Jen, in that bag there is a scarf with the Laurel seal on it. We didn't get you flowers, we got you a scarf.
Use it tomorrow morning.
Great.
Good evening. We're representatives from the Laurel Board of Trade. This is Bob Mignon, who's our president, and I'm Marilyn Johnson, vice president. And we would just like to go on record as showing our support for Rich and everything the police department has done to help us through many years of Main Street Festival and River Fest and every other thing that we think of and need help from the police department.
And let's not forget Trick or Treat on Main Street, right?
Oh my God, yes.
It's been a pleasure over the last 9 years or so of working with you. Every time there was a plan for any of these events that the Laurel Board of Trades and works with the city on, Rich gets the final approval of the plan. And he's always worked with us very well and given us a lot of pointers on what we should be doing if we're not doing them. And we appreciate that very much. He's always had the city of Laurel and the residents of the city of Laurel, their best interests at heart. We very, very appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.
We have one last speaker, I think, former Chief Roy Gilmore, and then we're going to turn the mic over to Rich.
Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Mayor. Richard, congratulations. I spent many years in law enforcement. I spent almost 9 years in the city of Laurel. Rich was one of the first people I met when I came into the police department. And I met with the sergeant in charge of investigative section. And he said, but if you really want to know how the investigative section is run, see Corporal McLaughlin at the time. And that proved to be a very true statement. We've had issues with state's attorney's office, and I go to Rich and said, Rich, how far can I go with this? He says, our investigation is good. So I never had a problem saying I stand by the investigations of the Laurel City Police Department. And I can tell you the leadership and the men and women of the Laurel Police Department are second to none. I spent 25 years in a major law enforcement agency, came to the city of Laurel. I would tell you the officers here, the leadership of the police department of the city is second to none, and I consider it a great pleasure to have worked with you, Rich. Congratulations. Enjoy your time.
So, no one else? Good? Let me again thank, somebody's pointing to Bubba. I know better than that. I just want to again thank Rich and his family for all the support that they have provided to this city, to its residents, its business owners, to the mayor and city council for all his hard work. I know he's not going anywhere. You know, he's always going to be somebody that's going to be right here in Laurel. So with that said, let me introduce Rich McLaughlin.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad I checked Donaldson's to make sure this wasn't a eulogy. I am not going anywhere. I have had an opportunity over the last couple months since I gave the letter to the mayor to reflect over my career. It has been an amazing journey. It has been a phenomenal event. I'd like to correct that list of things, accomplishments that you read off. That was not. That was us. That was you. That was the administration. That was the team of the Laurel Department. And I'm going to tell you, I was told many, many years ago by the chief, and I don't want to say it was Roy Gilmore, but it may have been Roy Gilmore or Archie Cook, that to be a successful leader, you have to leave your fingerprint. Well, I think with that list, there is no argument that my fingerprints are all over the city, all over the police department. And it's a huge accomplishment. It is, again, it has been a phenomenal journey. It's been a roller coaster ride of emotion. There are things that I have done during my career and experienced during my career that I will never ever. I have lifelong friends that I will never. And it is just, you know, to be able to walk and interact with the community and walk away knowing the community is more trusting of the police department the transparency of the police department, the city as a whole, I think that speaks volume. It has not been a Rich McLaughlin show. It has been a City of Laurel show. It has taken IT. It has taken the teamwork of the police department. It has taken the leadership of the administration. And the fact that they have allowed me the opportunity to expend money. We took a gamble on the body-wear cameras. That was just a proposition that I presented to the mayor and the council that they bought. It was a huge success. It was a huge it's nationwide. It's worldwide. We hit the media internationally as well as nationally. That's because they were willing to take a gamble. And that's what a lot of the policing is, and like community policing is, it's interacting with the community. I tell these officers, go have a cup of coffee. If you're walking to 7-Eleven, somebody's standing there, hey, good morning. You don't have to have a conversation with them. Just be approachable. And I think we're getting there. The diversity of the agency is phenomenal. It's leaps and bounds ahead of where it was when I took the office of chief. That's a lot of hard work. That's not me. That's my background people. That's my investigative staff. That's people that are out talking to people, that are recruiting qualified personnel. And that's what it's all about. So again, I am going to be around. I'm not disappearing. I am very excited about what the future brings and what the next chapter brings. I am closing this chapter. It is it's long overdue, to be honest with you. You know, my wife has made sacrifices that I didn't even expect her to take and to accept. There's never been any argument. There's never been any issues. It's time to pay back the family. So thank you again for the support. Thank you again for the guidance. And thank you for the friendship.
So, Marty, before he gets out the door, you still got a vice chair's position open in 150th anniversary. Rich may need something to do. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I have one final announcement.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.